minutes.
No, turn it on.
Okay, you're all good. You're all set. Have a good meeting.
Thank
Because he,
Hey, Caesar.
hey,
Hello, how are you?
hear me?
Yes. I could hear you.
All right, I'm just gonna be a minute before I get back. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Bob, you made it. Bob Kaplan, how are you?
How you doing? I'm sorry, I'm in the car, but yes, I
Oh.
made it.
No, I didn't expect you to be here, but I'm glad you made it.
Things have been a little busy with this whole Ukrainian thing we're involved in, so yeah. But I'm glad I'm here. Thank you.
I see Sergio. Hello, Sergio. How are you?
Hey Ed, how you doing? Good to see you.
Good to see you. Well, delayed reaction, but welcome to the committee.
Thank you, thank you.
Everything well? All right.
Yes, excited to be here.
Very good. Thanks for coming.
An exciting meeting.
I'm just gonna wait a minute or two. We do have a quorum, but a few members that aren't here.
Ed,
There she is. Hello, Margaret.
hello, I'm here.
Hi, Margaret.
Hi, Myra, how are you?
All right, how are you?
I'm great.
I see a hand up already. I mean, we haven't officially started the meeting yet, but if we could just hold all questions.
Ed, Ed,
Yes.
Ed, I think that was me.
Oh, that is you? Oh, yeah, it's you
I
causing
think so.
trouble again, huh?
Yeah, why not?
Do you want me to lower your hand for you? I'll lower your hand if you like.
Yes, yes, mine, would you please, hon?
There you
Okay?
go.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, I see Captain Gervin. Excellent.
Okay, just let me.
All right, I'm going to begin the meeting. Welcome everybody to Bronx Community Board 8's Public Safety Meeting. I'm Ed Green, the chair of the committee, and I'm just going to take a quick committee roll call and call the names. Please say here or present if you're here or present. Christopher Calhoun.
Here, Ed.
Hey, Chris. Margaret Donato.
President,
Diomara Siscano. I don't think Dio's here. Okay. Nick Fazio. I'm here. Myra Joyce,
I'm here.
Robert Kaplan,
I'm here.
Ted Morris. Ted is not here. Georgia Santiago. No Georgia for now. Stephen Vasquez.
Present.
Hey, Stephen. And Sergio Villaverde.
Present.
All right. So welcome, everybody. And just quickly, I'm assuming everybody received our minutes. So if anybody has any, does anybody have any questions or anything, any comments, any changes they want to make, anything, suggestions about the minutes? If not, we'll take a vote on the minutes. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to
Make a
approve.
motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
I second it.
Okay, so if there's anybody opposed or any abstentions, speak now or raise your hand. Otherwise, these minutes are approved unanimously. Okay, so no objections, no opposed, no abstentions. Minutes are approved unanimously. Is there anyone here from any elected officials or anybody that wants to introduce themselves? I don't see anybody.
Oh. I'll introduce myself.
Hi.
Hi, my name's Susan Landgraf, and I'm here because I get the notices, and the notice of this meeting came in through an email this morning, just when I've been dealing with a problem of a rat invasion in my neighborhood. And so even though it may not be the work of this particular committee, I do think rats have something to do with public safety. So I just came to observe tonight.
Okay, if you'd like to bring this issue up after we have our police report, that's probably the appropriate time to do it, and you can get suggestions, I guess, from the.
Oh, good. That's what I was thinking, but you asked about people introducing themselves.
Oh, okay. No, it was really for public officials, but we're glad to have you. Thank you for coming out.
Okay, I'm glad to be here.
Okay, so the next order of business is the NYPD report. Do we have someone here from the 50th precinct to give the NYPD report? 50th precinct in the
Captain
house?
Duran is muted.
Hey, Ed, how are you? Good day.
Hey, I'm hearing you about 60 times. There's a crazy echo. Did you hear that?
I'm trying to work on what's up with my computer. Maybe you can pass me by and I'll get the audio fixed. No. Steve, you know how I think I got two things working. No, my phone's not on. It's echoing.
We'll give, you want us to give you a second to see if we can fix the technical difficulties here? There's nobody here from the fire department tonight, is there? All right, I don't see anybody from the fire department. All right, we will give, I guess we'll give Captain Gervin a couple of minutes to, you know, I don't know, this, well, let's give Captain Gervin a couple of minutes. How about that? Can we have a few minutes of silence, I guess, while they while they try to fix their technical difficulties, rather than get into something completely different?
A few minutes of awkward silence.
Yeah, not too awkward.
Oh, yeah. We can do some cat tricks.
Oh, look at that.
Say hello, Kumar.
All right, I'm readmitting Captain Gervin, so let's see if he
Okay.
can.
I'm going to have to get this cat off my lap now. Go away.
Captain Gervin, how are we now? Oh, listen, wait, look. It's a miracle.
It's echoing.
Yeah, sounds great.
All right, for crime complaints, for the 28th day, no homicides. We had 2 rapes. Those are domestic related and the subjects are known to the investigator. We had 14 robberies, which is up a lot from the previous year, 28th day, 14 versus 2. Felony assaults are up a little bit, 13 versus 10. Burglaries, 9 versus 5. We're flat on the grand larcenies, which is the theft of property, 45 versus 45 in a COVID year, so that's okay. That's never good anyway, but numerically speaking, there is no increase. But once again, for this month, we're fighting a tremendous grand larceny automobile problem, 19 versus 7 last year. And that's the problem we're facing here, the property crimes in Riverdale. So what we did, like we spoke about the last time, I think, or whichever community board meeting I spoke with about, we have an anti-crime team. What we're doing is we're expanding the anti-crime team, now known as the public safety officers. We're going to have one on the evening shift with a supervisor, and then we're going to have one on the midnight shift with a supervisor to see if we can combat some of these larcenies, burglaries. And of course, the biggest problem here in the 5-0 is the grand larceny automobiles, which is the theft of straight out of the car, tires and rims, catalytic converters, vehicle accessories, and as well as the vehicle sensors. And that's where we stand.
All right, thank you, Captain. Is there anybody from the committee that has any questions for Captain Gervin? Anything? I see Stephen Vasquez has his hand up. Stephen?
Yeah, hey, good evening. Questions for Captain Gervin. Any idea how many police officers are going to be on each team?
Good evening, Stephen. Yes, we have 1 sergeant to 4 police officers. The max range for our effectiveness was usually 1 to 6, but since we have the availability of that extra supervisor, we're having closer supervised teams of 4 police officers to 1 supervisor.
Great, thank you.
Myra, I see your hand is up.
Yes, I just want to bring up again, the bikes, motorcycles, motorized vehicles, riding on the sidewalk. I was on Broadway, just north of 231st today, and this guy on his motorized bike with a girl right behind him, riding along the sidewalk. I took a video, and I'm really getting very fed up with this because it's constant that I see this. Is anything going to be done?
Agreed. I see that myself. We try to stop them when we can if they stop, but we have a very restrictive pursuit policy, which I've spoken about. In an urban environment, it's not good. They might hit somebody. So what we do is we grab them when they're chained up to a pole or a fire hydrant or a street sign, and we'll go there. We'll use a like a lock clipper. I think just it's clipper, or we use a 18-volt grinding wheel, and we'll cut the lock or the cable, whatever is easier for us, and we'll toss it in the back of the police car or the police van, and we'll take that out to the precinct, and we'll vouch it as determined true owner. They probably won't get it back because most of these guys don't have paperwork to the car, and that is a slow but effective solution to the complaint you're speaking of.
Let's see, hey, how you doing? It's
Myra.
Officer Sala.
Hi, Susan. Hi, Sal. Yeah.
You brought this up last time.
I did. I'm sorry, my cat is like making a lot of noise in the
We
back.
spoke about that.
Stop it.
I remember she said she was tempted to take them
I
out.
did. It's like, I'm going to bring this up every month because short of actually jumping in front of it, which is always my inclination. I
Don't do
pulled
that.
out. I know, don't do that.
Don't do
I
that. It's a
know.
dangerous thing. Even if they look small, they do have a lot of weight. And if you do that Einstein equation, force
Uh-huh.
as
Yeah,
time,
E equals MC squared, that one?
yeah, that's not gonna work out well for you.
Okay,
So leave it to us. I know we're not grabbing a lot of them because they are difficult to get. And we don't want to chase anybody and they blast somebody on the sidewalk like you speak of or in a crosswalk. But we are taking them off one by one.
okay.
And I agree with you, it is a problem and it's problematic citywide. I don't know what else they're doing citywide, but we are taking them off the street.
Yeah, okay. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Myra. I have a few things that came in that I just wanted to bring up also. Well, first of all, Captain, has there been any update on, we did that walkthrough last month at the 6048 Riverdale Avenue at the new Legacy Studios, and has there been any resolution with that as far as that place is concerned? And
No, we're waiting for the various inspections, which the community board requested from
Yes.
Department of Buildings and we're just trying to, and the fire department and all those other agencies.
I
who
did
have,
not call you. I spoke to you. I'm trying to get through this Zoom meeting.
Can somebody mute themselves who's talking?
And
Tom
that's it.
McClellan.
If they ask too many questions, we'll just put it over to next month. That's all.
Thomas McCallum, please mute yourself.
I'll mute him.
All right,
Okay, sorry about that.
So we're waiting for an opportunity to go up there with those agencies, and we are available 24/7 to go there. Once we get the call from those agencies, we will move with them to that location so we can conduct whatever inspection is required to verify their licenses or the suitability of the property for use.
Has there been any more 311 complaints or any other complaints to the pastor coming through you about that since then?
No, I haven't got anything from the community myself nor Caesar. We haven't got anything from Father McCarthy, but we have to revisit Father McCarthy because if you remember, we asked to have those no trespassing signs to be designated on the border of the church's property, and that hasn't been completed yet. So that's one of those things we're gonna have to revisit. And that's on Father McCarthy to take care of. We will work to make those apprehensions when they're illegally trespassing on the church property, but he's got to get those signs up.
Okay, thank you. Another issue that came up actually from a completely different committee meeting from the Traffic and Transportation Committee from one of our residents was double parking during school hours by St. Gabriel's. And apparently that caused a lot of chaos over there. I don't know if you guys were aware of that or if anybody complained to you guys about double parking, but that was relayed to me through the Traffic and Transportation Committee. And I was asked to ask you guys to look into that because apparently the double parking during school hours over there is causing a lot of chaos.
We haven't received here those complaints. We have received complaints over on Johnson Avenue, 235 to 236. We've addressed those. We've written some double parkers and we've used some persuasive speech to get some of those people to move along. And our community affairs officers spoke to some of the businesses about those complaints from the community about the double parking. Any kind of school double parking was that 81? 81 on 256 in Riverdale? Yes. And we've been up there, but we have not gone down to St. Gabe's.
All right, so can I have your assurance that somebody's going to look into it? So they when they ask me the next time, I can say I passed it on.
Certainly, Ed. I'm going to speak with Sergeant Karras tomorrow. He's our traffic sergeant. And when we have a complaint like over on 254 over by SAR, we have complaints about the illegally parked and double parked school buses waiting for the kids to get out. We've been working there. We've been moving them along. And those who are, if the bus isn't occupied, we do write no parking summonses on those buses.
I have a question in regards to that. Is the complaint about traffic in general by the school, or is it just dismissal times? Like, what exactly is the complaint?
Double parking during, I guess, they just said school hours, so I'm assuming it's
that's right by Johnson.
Being picked up and dropped off.
Yeah, because it's right by where the initial complaints were on Johnson. It's right around the corner.
Was it Mr. Mulder? Is that how he say his name? Mr. Mulder?
Who, the complainant?
Yeah.
No, well, the person who complained to me was someone from our community member from it was
Okay. Yeah, we'll take a peek at it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's not a problem.
Yeah, it's right around the corner.
And we'll let you know, Ed.
Great, thank you. And also, I received kind of a list of issues also from one of our residents. I believe she's here at the meeting. User 2, Marie, is that you? Are you on this call? Because you can probably
I am here.
great. Do you want to address this? Because I have your email here with your list, but perhaps you'd like to address it. You could probably can do it more eloquently than I can, since you're the one who brought it up and are aware of it. Would you want to tell the captain what's concerning you?
Well, right now, it's the resumption of the racing on Bailey Avenue of motorcycles and souped-up cars. But in the email, I had addressed the problem of 3130 Bailey Avenue that was being demolished, but without protection. This, however, has changed. They finished today, I believe, building a whole plywood structure around the property, so no one can go in anymore and either fall or spray graffiti. The other one was the bicycles by Bike, that dark store on 231st, but they have closed with the sanctions on Russian banks. That place is closed. So anything else that I forgot, but I mentioned to you, Ed, right now, those two issues of an unprotected demolition is at least it's walled now, and the bike is with their bikes coming out is shut down. The new thing is, and I agree with the committee member, there's been a pandemic loosening about bikes on the sidewalk. They had a great time with the pandemic when we were quarantined, but it's just very chaotic. You really have to be careful as a pedestrian and as a driver. That's all.
Okay, so Marie, so the dark store was closed, so that's no longer a concern. The other one was the demolition on Bailey by Summit Place, leading up to
Right.
Heat.
And they walled it off today. Well, in the last few days, they've closed off the area so no one can go in anymore.
And what was the I know you filed a complaint about that. And what was the concern the primary concern about that area?
Well, in my experience, when you demolish, you do have to A, publish your permits, B, have them plastered on some kind of palisade that stops everyone going in. C, there was asbestos in the church. So I don't know what has happened since. I only know they have put up a barrier. Now, no one can go in. The last time, I'm sorry to say, I went in, the kids had started to spray tag, and the houses were definitely soggy with water because they were removing the roof. The last concern would be what happened to the asbestos. A former parishioner said it was gone. This would have been done before the palisade was put up in the last few days then. But the good thing now is there is a tall palisade. I haven't looked and seen if any permits are displayed. And there was a stop work order by the DOB, Department of Buildings, that had been pulled off. So, but the main concern is it's blocked off now, it seems. So that's good.
Okay, so Captain, is that more of a Department of Buildings issue or an FDNY issue, or where do they go next in terms of seeing if permits were done properly and everything?
There would probably be the Department of Buildings, or maybe if she had concerns about the asbestos that may have been in the building, the Department of Health.
Yeah.
In regards to the speeding on Bailey Avenue, which was at the beginning of our conversation, we've been out there on Bailey Avenue trying to get these cars with the paper plates. And last week, we made an arrest of one of those speeding vehicles with a bogus plate. And it would wind up being a stolen vehicle, a recently stolen vehicle. So we took care of 3 concerns right off: the speeding, the paper plates, and of course, the stolen vehicles which are occurring here in the command. So that was a nice call, a nice arrest. And we're going to continue focusing our attention over there on Kingsbridge, Bailey, Reservoir. We made another arrest for a stolen vehicle, another recently stolen vehicle. But for her concern, yes, we're over there and we have made arrests.
And we made a request for the others.
Thank you very much, by the way. I'm very glad. I do hear the cars, your cars. So, I mean, it's great. Thank you.
Also for, as Officer Sala mentioned, we are requesting, with the assistance of Community Board 8, the installation of some Argus cameras over there too, just to keep an eye on things. And because we do have some activity, both criminal and otherwise over there, that we could utilize those cameras for. And hopefully we'll get them at those locations with the permission of the police department.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Marie. Captain, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm going to get into this a little bit later when we discuss our budget priorities, but the Argus camera is definitely, don't go anywhere. I definitely want to go over that with you because we need to put in budget requests for that. Thanks for mentioning that. Does anybody, is there anybody from the public, anybody from the committee, anybody that has any other questions for Captain Gervin and the representatives of the administration? Okay, I don't see any hands, so that'll be it for our NYPD report. Thank you, Captain. Thank you, Officer Sala. And with that, we'll go to the New York State Liquor Authority renewal applications. And we have an renewal application for Blackstone Bar and Grill. Is there anybody here, any representatives from Blackstone Bar and Grill?
I am here.
Hey.
My name is Steve Cassettis.
How are you? Thank you for coming out.
Thank you.
Okay, so you're renewing your application for a full liquor license, liquor, wine, beer, and cider. Captain, has there been any issues at the address of 3713? That's the address, 3713 Riverdale. Okay.
Yeah, that's Blackstone. That's in the middle of the block between 236 and 238 on the west side of Riverdale Avenue. And we don't have any complaints over that location in regards to anything.
Great news.
So he's good to go.
Is there anybody from the committee that has any questions for Steve about Blackstone Bar and Grill?
Hello, can anyone hear me? Yeah, I can tell that they hear me because they're looking at the screen trying to figure out who is talking.
I'm gonna, hold on 1 second. Give me 1 second, sorry. All right. Nobody has any questions for Steve. Okay, so with that, we're going to take a vote on the application. Is there anybody that's not in favor or wants to abstain from approving this application? I don't see any hands. I don't hear anybody. So the application for a full liquor license renewal for Blackstone Bar and Grill has been approved by the Public Safety Committee, and it will go to the full board for a vote at our next board meeting. Thank you, Steve, for coming out. And
Thank you for having me. Take care.
Night. You too. Thank you. Okay, so we have a new application. 2220 Osteria LLC, and the name has yet to be determined. Is there anybody here from this business to representing this business here tonight? Osteria LLC?
Yes.
Nobody from Osteria tonight. Okay.
I think, no, I
I'm
think
here. Can you hear me now?
Mr. McCall- Yes, yes, yes. Yes.
Okay, great. My name is Thomas McCallum. I'm the attorney for 220 Osteria LLC. And just for a little background, we appeared last year. Now Sigorchin's the owner. He has been licensed in CB8 in the past. We were here last year, and obviously for a lot of different reasons. One of them was financing. with the bank, we were approved with a single stipulation that they would close the premises for the first year at 2 a.m. It's a bistro up top. They've been operating, they haven't been operating, and we signed a stipulation last year. I went through the file recently, and there was some exchange with Pablo Romano regarding the proposed operation. So the licensee's principal, he's been licensed in Brooklyn and Manhattan and other places, seems to have the formula for this Italian dining. I mean, I don't want to mix my French and my Italian. He calls it a bistro. I keep telling him it's trattoria, but either way, it's a restaurant, and I'm just here because we're looking to move forward now.
Okay, I notice it's checked, new application and temporary retail permit. I just want to understand this. So the reason for the temporary retail permit is?
It's huge. What had happened was there was a change in the ABC law, the Alcohol Beverage Control Law. In the past, applicants were not eligible in the 5 boroughs to have a 90-day temporary retail permit at a location that was not previously operating. That legislation was changed in January because it really wasn't fair. The 5 boroughs didn't have what the rest of New York State had. So an application for a 2-year license takes approximately 6 to 7 months. The temporary retail permit allows a cursory examination, commence operation, so you can operate, pay rent, hire employees, while the liquor authority reviews the 2-year license. And it's huge because you can commence operation in approximately 45 to 60 days rather than 6 to 7 months. So now that it's an option, that's why we're filing for it.
Okay, and the principal's name, Nasir, you're representing him, correct?
That's correct. Yep, NASA couldn't make it tonight. I was pulled out of the bullpen late this afternoon, so that's why I'm here. But yeah, it's the same owner. And again, like I said, he's been licensed in your community for a few years in the past. The premises closed, but he's an experienced operator because I've represented him for 20 plus years in Manhattan and Brooklyn.
Okay, is there anybody from the committee that has any questions for the applicant's representative here?
Yeah, I do.
Myra?
Yeah, so this is a dining in Italian restaurant?
Yeah, that's correct. Yep.
How many tables do you have?
He has, it's funny, I'm working 2 screens here. I think that they're going to be a total of 40 tables in the restaurant, but that's on another screen I don't have. I'm just going by memory. I know there were diagrams submitted and a number of other on the menu, and those other items were submitted to the board.
Okay, and you're right next to Manhattan College, and so how will you be carding or IDing students?
I would recommend, and I don't think he's ever had to do it in the past, but being near Manhattan College, he did have a restaurant, also a Cafe Bon Gusto in the past. I don't think it was an issue, but I am going to advocate that he does get the electronic scanner, just because it's worth its weight in gold. Whatever you spend, $500, $600, $700, it just even operates as a check, because college students aren't going to come in if they know they're going to get scanned. So I'll advocate that to Nasser when I get off, when I speak to him tomorrow.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Margaret Donato, I see your hand is up. You have a question, Margaret? Margaret, you're muted. I see Margaret's hands up, but I'm not hearing her.
Can you hear me?
There you go. Yes.
Okay. Is there any relationship between your establishment and Yokomo, the establishment right next door?
No, there's no affiliation. I know there was an issue with the prior operator. I saw that in the file, Ibiza, if I have that accurate, but no, he has no affiliation with the adjacent or next door premises.
Okay. And are you going to have outside promoters?
No, no, he's not going to have outside promoters.
There's
He
gonna
may
be
have
live
outdoor
music.
cafe, but he's not having outside promoters.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Margaret. And my question would be, I see you have live music checked off, and pool and billiards. So this is it's like a split level operation where you have billiards below, and I'm assuming that, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I raised the same question when I spoke with the owner. I said, you know, it is a little slightly different business model. But he said he'll be the bona fide, you know, restaurant upstairs, but he had the space and he figured it may be something he may, you know, utilize. And I said, you know, you got to be alert to that. I said, because it's, you know, your diners may complain upstairs. But he says, well, I have the space, so let's see where I can go with this.
Okay, and the application also states that you guys are gonna have live music there. So, I mean, there's nothing, you marked various music styles, anything in particular, it's gonna be bands or?
I don't think it's going to be bands. I know what he's done at his other restaurants. He's had, you know, in the dining area. I don't think there'll be anything other than the billiards and ping pong tables in the lower level. But at this point, I know he's had on Sundays, he's had like a 1 or 2 piece acoustics in the restaurant just for ambiance. But I don't see anything. I spoke to him. He says, no, the bottom space is space and the upstairs space is restaurant. They're distinct. So he's always had some kind of limited music, just, you know, background ambiance in the dining, in the bistro.
Okay, Myra, is your hand up from before or is
Oh,
it?
I'm sorry.
Okay, and Margaret, the same, right? Your hand's up from before, right? Okay. Captain Gervin, 220 West 242nd Street. Do you have any concerns about this area? I know we've had some problems before with some of the previous tenants there. What concerns, if any, do you have or any commentary on this?
Before we had Barcelona Bites there, and as Mr. McCollum said, it's the same kind of business model, and we had problematic ongoing with him, the owners of Barcelona Bites. So a lot of the problems stem from events downstairs. They had a bar downstairs, they had a pool table down there, and a lot of the complaints from that Barcelona Bites came from that lower venue inside Barcelona Bites. So that's not saying that the future business would be the same way, but it's been our experience in the past at Barcelona Bites that that kind of venue, when you have the extra bar downstairs and the pool table and whatever else they had down there, we wound up closing that location.
Okay, thank you. All right, so
if I can just mention something, Mr. Green, I raised the same question with the client, and I said, you know, there's no bar down there. How are you going to, you know, how's there going to be service and consumption? And he says, no, we're not having a bar down there for that reason. So drinks would need to be purchased at the restaurant and perhaps wait service. So I did raise that same issue earlier today.
Yeah, okay.
And, you know, go ahead.
All right, so I mean, you guys are you know, you're looking to do something here. You know, it has nothing to do with what the previous owner was up to, but you know, we've had issues with that, so I'm sure the 5-0 are going to be concerned about that area. But I personally wish you the best of luck, and I have no problem granting you myself this opportunity. Anybody from the committee have any objections? We're going to take a vote on this, and is there anybody who has any objections or wishes to abstain on voting? I see one hand up. Margaret, is that you from before, or is that Margaret? All right, I'm going to lower your hand, Margaret. So if speak up if. All right, I don't see any or hear any abstentions or objections. So this application is passed unanimously. Thank you for coming out, Mr. McCollum. It passes our committee. It will go before the full board. at our next board meeting. And thanks again for coming out, and wish you the best of luck in this endeavor.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time and courtesies. I'll let Mr. Gorchia know our conversation regarding the lower level.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so with that, we actually have one more, we have a method of operation. Is there anybody here from Caribbean Bites Bar and Restaurant representing that establishment?
Yes, we're right here.
Yes.
Hi,
Hi.
good evening to everyone.
There you go.
Hi,
Hi, I haven't seen you guys in a while. How are you? Good to see you.
we're good, we're good.
Okay, so you're actually requesting let me make sure I get this correct, because I don't have any application. So my understanding is you're requesting a letter from basically our committee and the board requesting what? You tell us in your words.
Yes, hi. So basically, we're just like a step away from being approved for a conditional letter to open the business with a temporary permit. The issue is that the licensing board has requested that I ask permission or approval from the community board to be able to have recorded music, live music, and karaoke. So that came back as a deficiency because we originally had marked that it was live music and karaoke. And then, so that has delayed us tremendously. So what we're asking for is, will the community board approve and provide us with a document, a letter? Because we have 10 days and the 10 days are actually up tomorrow.
I just want to interrupt you real quickly on that, because I don't know if you're aware, but I received an email today that our board did request an extension until, I believe it was the 14th of next month, or right, it was till right after whenever our board meeting is, the 14th or the 15th.
Oh, okay.
And they did request an extension. I don't know if that was granted or not, but they did request an extension.
I have not received anything regarding that. So we wouldn't know, but basically it's just approval from the community board. And then obviously if the board can provide us with some type of document that says that yes, that they approve of that, then we can move forward with the application.
Okay, so this would essentially just be a letter of approval from the committee and from the board stating that we have no objections to allowing your business to have live music, recorded music, and karaoke.
Yes.
And the reason you need that is because the SLA is stating that it wasn't filled out properly or something initially.
Yes, yes.
Okay. You know, I just have to say the only thing that I didn't fully understand, because I read the letter from SLA and I was a little confused about why they don't just let you reapply for a method of operation and check all the boxes off rather than go through us for a letter. I don't seem to understand that.
I totally agree with you. It's, you know, that would be another topic, but the process with the SLA is not an easy one. And any minor little mistake that you make or oversee in that application, that can throw you off literally months before anyone can be granted permission to open.
Okay. So with that in mind, I'm just, does anybody in the committee have any questions for the owners of Caribe Bites? You guys are the owners, correct?
Yes, we are. We're also owners of the restaurant across the street, which is El Económico, and we've never had any kind of issues or where we've been reprimanded or anything like that.
Okay. Anybody from the committee have any questions about this issue or to the owners about this? I see Margaret Donato.
Yes, and I'm not sure that we can generate a letter as a committee. It would have to be the board.
No, I've spoken to our board chair and our district manager about that.
Oh, okay.
And we would do it in the form of a resolution here, and we'd pass it on to the board and.
Oh, that's what I was thinking, a resolution, because
There's
wonderful.
several ways of doing it, but that seems to be the best way of doing it, unless anybody has
Right.
other ideas. I'm certainly open to suggestion about that, but that seems to, we've come to the conclusion that seems to be the best way of going about this.
As long as it'll work.
Okay, anybody else from the committee have any questions? Captain Gervin, 5586 Broadway, Caribbean Bites. Is there any concerns about there? They're requesting, it's kind of a technicality, but they're being asked to, for us to approve of a letter for them to have music there, which they already have, don't they? You guys, you already have music there, don't you?
Well, we're not open, waiting obviously for our liquor license, but the previous owner, who unfortunately passed away during COVID, they had recorded music, live music, and karaoke, and I never heard of anything that would affect us having the same thing.
Okay, and what are your hours gonna be?
So we do have, I forget what the word is called, but for the first 2 years, we did agree with the community board that we cannot be open past 2:00 in the morning. So that will be in effect for the first 2 years, I believe. And then once everything is normalized, then we will be having, again, personally, I don't think that the latest that we're going to be open on any given day is 3:00 in the morning. I'm not going for that 4:00 in the morning kind of business. And probably during the week on the slow days, I think that 2:00 works with us very well.
Okay, Captain, any issues over there?
Off the top of my head and off the top of Caesar's head, we haven't had any issues over there. We could do a check later on and get back to you about that. But off the top of our heads, there's been no problems over there.
Okay, thank you, Captain. All right, so just briefly, without, off the top of my head, I'm just gonna suggest something in the form of a resolution, be it, the whereas clauses are gonna be, just the information that we've gone over, but the be it resolved part will be Bronx Community Board 8's Public Safety Committee approves of karaoke, recorded music and live music for the owners of Caribbean Bites Restaurant at 5586 Broadway. That's basically going to be the gist of it. It's going to be very simple, right to the point, and that's it. Does anybody from the committee have any questions or concerns or anything they want to add to that? All right, so I'm just going to take a quick vote on it. Are we all in favor of sending a letter on behalf of this business to our full board? Is there anybody who wants to abstain or disapproves of this?
What is it? We're sending a letter or a resolution? I'm not clear on that.
I'm glad, Sergio, I'm really glad. I was actually going to put you on the spot and call on you, but I didn't want to be rude, but because I know you have a lot of experience in the economic development. But so the issue is there was some technical mix up with their application. So the SLA, I don't understand why SLA just doesn't have them do a method of operation change and have all the boxes checked and resubmit it, but they want some letter from the board stating that we approve of them having karaoke, live music, and recorded music. They've already checked off properly 2 of the boxes. They didn't have 1 of the boxes checked off or something. It's a real minor detail.
Right.
Making them jump through hoops to.
Do we have it? So there's an amended application before us? Is that accurate?
No, it's not even that. They just want, they're requesting an actual letter from the community board stating that we have no objections to them playing this music. So the committee is just going to have a resolution, a resolution to write a letter, a resolution to write a letter on their behalf.
Can I read? Maybe it's easier for everyone who's on this Zoom. If I can read the paragraph to you, you could probably understand better what it is that they're saying.
Sure.
And it says, method of operation, notice to Bronx Community Board number 8. You gave us 2 notices to Bronx Community Board 8, and we generally require only receiving 1. The one that was sent on May 4th of this year, we see proof of delivery for that, but we don't see any proof of delivery for the one that was sent on June 17, 2021. And that is why we cannot approve you for playing, for playing recorded karaoke and live music. This can be even if you want to play more music, but they must show in writing they approve of you playing all that music. So that's basically what, because of this technicality, they just want the board to approve and send something so that I can send them something.
I understand.
Writing.
So Mr. Chair, we've already approved this application previously, correct?
Correct, but according to SLA, it wasn't filled out properly because they're putting some type of music on it that they didn't check the box on.
Right.
So that I would move the resolution that we amend our approval to include the approval of the 3 types of music that they're saying in there. And I believe we could vote on something like that. And then we could also, in the resolution, approve that the committee chair or office send this resolution and whatever other supporting material is necessary. So
okay, well, the only issue with that is that there's really no application before us. There's a previous application, and the letter is just from SLA is just stating they've contacted us and they want some type of letter from the committee before they're willing to go ahead and basically process their application. So I don't know if anything regarding an application is necessary. I mean, they're simply asking for a letter. So shouldn't that be what we're addressing here?
Well, I think, the committee has to take a vote. So the committee, I guess, would do.
Sergio, you're breaking up. Sergio, hello? Oh, I think we lost him.
Mm-hmm.
I think we lost Sergio, unfortunate. All right, hopefully he will log back on. Well, he is on, I just can't hear him. Sergio, are you there?
Yes, I'm sorry, I lost you for a moment.
Okay. So sorry, you were saying?
So I would suggest a resolution to read that the Public Safety Committee Board number 8 has no objection to the playing of 1, 2, 3 different types of music at the premises and list the address. That would be something in writing, and that would be something that we could follow up with a letter if they need a letter in addition to, because now there's a vote.
That sounds reasonable to me. Georgia Santiago, your hand is up. Do you got something to add, Georgia? I think that's Georgia. I see a number that.
I thought it was Georgia too. Georgia?
All right, she's muted.
Georgia has trouble with her phones.
All right, if she can chime in at any time if she'd like.
Yeah, I know she's having difficulty with the phone she has purchased. So,
but maybe I can unmute her. Hold on. You're unmuted, Georgia. I unmuted you.
Oh, I'm muted. Oh, Lord.
What's going on?
I just wanted to ask the question, that address, because I I got 55 something and Broadway. What's the rest of it?
5586 Broadway.
5586. Thank you so much. I'm sorry I'm having difficulties here with the phone and different,
Quite all right. Now I know I can unmute you if there's any further difficulties.
Oh, okay, dear. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, so with that, I think we should just take a vote, and it's pretty much like Sergio suggested. The resolution is, if I have this correct, is that we approve of them, or we have no objections to them, or we approve of them playing the music, and we will send a letter on their behalf as requested by SLA. Did I get that right, Sergio?
Yeah, so the wherefore would be that the committee has no objection to the playing of the listed types of music. We'll list them out within reasonable limits. And that's it.
Okay, sounds great. Myra, that a lot of this falls on you. I saw you got all that?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Beautiful. You're the best. All right. So with that in mind, is there anybody from the committee that has any objections to this or wants to abstain from approving this? Okay, I don't see any hands, so the committee unanimously approves this request for Karibi Bites, and I will speak to our staff, our board staff, and our board chair about this tomorrow, and we will get this out immediately. Okay, and like I said, hopefully somebody will contact you, but I did receive some type of confirmation that we at least requested for an extension. I can't promise anything. They're usually pretty good with us in terms of granting us this stuff, but again, this is an SLA thing, so all we can do is lobby on your behalf to do this. And the reason we would do this obviously is because that 10-day extension falls, inside the the time limit when we can actually pass this, because this gets passed by our committee. It has to be passed by our board. And the next board meeting is not till almost a month from now. So that's why we're requesting the extension for you. Okay, so that's unanimously approved. Thank you for coming out, and I'll keep in touch with you guys, or our staff will coordinate something with you to let you know what's going on with this. Okay.
Thank you all so much. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're on to old business, which we have on our agenda: prioritization of public safety capital and expense budget items. And last month I asked the committee to come up with any ideas they may have about budget requests, and I got a few requests, and we have kind of a short list at this point. As far as capital budget request is concerned, we have right now we have two items on the list. So, well, one would be Argus cameras. So I was just told recently that, well, a couple of things with the Argus cameras. We got a letter stating that the funding is basically there for Argus cameras. I mean, to a degree, there's funding there, but Argus cameras get installed in basically priority order, from the, according to the agency's crime statistics. I would guess the captain can probably give a better description of that. But we requested 4 Argus cameras that I just found out were not, this is for last year, were not installed. One was at West 231st Street and Kingsbridge Avenue, very busy area. Another was at West 234th Street and Bailey Avenue. Another was at West 260th Street and Riverdale Avenue, and the last was at University Avenue and Riverdale Avenue. Some of those were mainly to really protect some of the businesses there, but there were areas of concern. So since we didn't get those last fiscal year, we're going to resubmit those locations for August cameras. And also of noteworthy is this funding is going to be coming from the Bronx Borough President as opposed to the previous agency. So the funding is there. It's just a matter of whether, they feel it, these are priority areas. So my first question would be to the 50th precinct. Is there any other areas where you guys feel we need or August cameras would improve public safety in our community? Captain Gervin, are you got anything on this?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I like your, the 4 suggestions, the ones you just went over. Maybe on 260th and Riverdale, maybe move it towards 259. So it could also cover like the Skyview Mall.
So I'm just gonna write this stuff down. So that would be 259 and what?
Riverdale.
And Riverdale Avenue?
Or somewhere in between. We have some flexibility. We can have a telephone pole there. It's just really getting it elevated and getting the best view. And we'll talk, if we like a location and we're kind of close, we could also talk to our units that install it and see what's the best view. And that's what it's all about, is getting a good view.
Okay, so I'm gonna put 259 in Riverdale because I need to be specific with these locations. So we have 260th in Riverdale, but now we also want 259 in Riverdale. And reason being what? I guess there's businesses there. It's kind of a busy cross section.
You have the big Skyview shopping center there. You got businesses on the east side of the street from 259th Street where they have, what's that, Riverdale Steakhouse?
Yeah.
Steakhouse there, all the way to the Chinese or Japanese restaurant on the end towards 81. And then you have SAR Academy there. So that'd be nice to have a good panning capability there. And that would also catch 260th Street because it's pretty open there.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Sergio. I lost you. Sergio. You're muted. There you go. Sergio.
Yeah, sorry about that. I got a call in the middle of that. I have to leave in a second, but I have a question for the captain, if that's all right, Mr. Chair.
Sure.
Does the precinct get notified when the installation is happening? Like, is there some leeway you guys have as to this pole rather than that pole?
Well, I wasn't present when the last ones were installed, but we can find out. And then we'll have a conversation with the installers and see what works best to get the best pan.
Yeah, that would seem to be the most efficient practice, as you just said. If we, if there's coordination on it rather than damn, this doesn't work.
Yep, but we have the flexibility to get them moved. We've had a couple that we didn't like. We moved them around. I don't want to lose any because that's a great investigatory tool. And in addition to the capital budget request that we did, we'd like to see them talking to our detective squad, Ed, Bailey Avenue and Van Cortlandt Park South, Bailey Avenue and West 234th Street, and Webb Avenue and Reservoir.
Well, hold on one second. You got Bailey Avenue, Van Cortlandt Park South, Bailey and 234th, and what was the last one?
Webb Avenue and Reservoir.
Webb and Reservoir. Okay. One concern I had with the Argus cameras is how do we even? I've yet to see any type of. Well, I saw one master list of area. It was like a screenshot or something of cameras that you did have, but it would be nice to have some type of master list of areas where we did have these things. So we're, because when we make budget requests for these things, we're constantly looking for areas the way, that would help, help you guys and help our area be safe. But, we're going to be running around, jumping through a lot of hoops and doing a lot of extra, research, sometimes unnecessary, because sometimes the things are there and we're getting complaints about areas and so is there any list available that we can have access to, or do you guys even have access to a list like that of everything that's
The list that Caesar sent you?
Yeah, that's the last one you have, right?
Yeah, it should be in 2 pages.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we have on our computer system. Like on my computer, I can log in and it's much longer than that. That's why it was 2 pages. And what I can do, or an investigator could do, is click on those and utilize those cameras to pan and review things that have gone on as part of their investigations. And pretty much all the ones that are in place currently are cameras that are at locations that are crime analysis, as well as our detective squad wanted, and they feel that that's a good selection. And then when we added those couple that I just spoke about, in addition to the ones that you guys like, that's the ones they asked for, our squad and our crime analysis, those additional 4.
So those additional
Pretty precious.
Those additional ones that you just mentioned, Webb and Reservoir, Bailey 234th, Bailey, Van Cortlandt Park South, those are ones that you got or the ones that you want?
Those are the additional ones to your 4 that our squad and crime analysis
is requesting.
Thought would be helpful in future investigations.
Beautiful, perfect. Okay, great. So I guess that's it, right? We're gonna have 8 of them then on this list, and hopefully we have the initial. Is it 7? You said 259th and Riverdale.
Oh, okay, yeah. With the 259 or 260, it'd be nice to have it up there. We have had robberies up there. The Dunkin' Donuts has been robbed. The cell phone store on the east side of the street, they've been robbed. It'd be nice to have either 260 or 259. If it's within budget, 260 and 259 would be great.
We could put them both on and,
See what happens.
cross our fingers, I guess.
And I'll take a little walk up there myself on foot to see what it looks like.
Okay, so that Argus cameras last year, these cameras were number 3 on the entire community board list, so they are high priority. We do regard them as high priority. And we hope to have the Traffic and Transportation Committee also on board with us for a joint budget request on this. So that would be the one capital budget, and the other capital budget issue is we recently, we had a guest at our gallery session at the full board meeting who came to us to let us know that the FDNY paramedic unit 27 Victor was being canceled. So they had previously, they have 2 paramedic units for this area, and one of them's going to be gone. And the main concern was that, we have 15 nursing homes in the area, and paramedic units are, they've determined that we had a representative from the FDNY union come and speak on this, and I'm still trying to, coordinate a meeting between myself and the district manager and him about this to get a more specific request for what they feel could be done, because this unit has been eliminated because, according to them, from some statistics that were done 10 years ago. So I don't know the full details about that. That doesn't, it sounds a little crazy, but anyway, so we're going to be, as of now, unless this is going to be modified later, I'd like to request FDNY paramedic unit to replace the canceled 27 Victor unit. And I'm going to add that also to the, that's more of an FDNY issue, but I'm just bringing this up because this is one of our budget. David Gelman, your hand is up. What's up, David?
Okay, sorry, I'm on my phone. I'm not used to this method. I would check with Kira because I have a feeling that that particular issue is outside of our scope.
I've checked with Kira. Kira and I are trying to set up a meeting with this gentleman. But yeah, this conversation is far from over. We have to find out more about the details about what if anything can be done with this. We can at the very least request it. And just like any other request, the agency can deny it and they'll need to give us their agency reason why it's being denied.
Well, given that you're trying to put together a list this month, but aren't going to decide it on until next month, I would, not get too deep into it here, and just make sure you speak with Kira before next month's meeting so you get clarity as to whether it's something that you can request, because I think it's not. I could be mistaken, but I think it's outside of the scope of budget request items.
Yeah, you could be right. That's what we're trying to figure out. But until then, this is still a rough list at this point. So I if it is requestable, I certainly want to, at least get the ball rolling with it.
Understood. I would just keep it in my back pocket until you and Kira can get clarification. That's all.
Thanks, David.
Yep.
Okay, so on to the expense budget requests. All right, so number one on the list, and we're doing these in priority order, but number one on the list is something that wasn't on the list last year. And I thank our committee member, Stephen Vasquez, for bringing this to the attention of the committee, but it's Police Athletic League after school programs and youth crime prevention services. So I want to, I don't know really the specifics about this. I don't know, Captain, do you want to speak on this? We'd like to get some type of PAL after school programs and youth crime prevention services or funding to have available programs. Do you have any ideas about this at this point?
No, we don't have a PAL over on this side, which I'd love to see. It's a great resource. I know when I worked in the 41st precinct, they have a huge PAL on Longwood Avenue and Southern Boulevard there. And it was very well used by the community and of course the children that live down there. And they did after school activities. They had access to computers. They played sports, volleyball, all that kind of stuff. And maybe we get some funding here. We could utilize one of the local schools for such a program. We're already doing a program over at JFK, which is Blue Chips for the volleyball teams that we're running. We do a different sport each season, I guess. We do football. We did football, basketball, now volleyball. So, and we're having a great reception over there. And I think we have too many kids for the program right now. And anything that we can do to provide services for those kids will keep them going in the right direction.
Okay, I see Derwin Green from KHCC has his hand up. Derwin, would you like to comment on this?
Sure. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Just grateful to be here. Thank you for the opportunity to come into your space. Why I joined the meeting is because this very subject right here, which you guys are talking about, how to keep youth engaged, is something that's very near and dear to our heart of that agency. And part of the reason why I'm here is because my agency is building success centers on the JFK campus and on the Walton campus. And so we already have after school programs in there. And so we're reaching out because we wanted to build a relationship with the police department in regards to, like, if there are youth who are, that, like, come on the radar of the police, that they may not be doing something where they may warrant arrest necessarily, but they're engaging in behaviors that requires that, like, they need to be connected to something. And so we wanted to make sure that, I reached out to the 50th precinct and to find out, like, who are the youth officers on these particular campuses, if there are any. And and to get the word out about the services that we're offering in this particular area, because we're looking to get more involved with youth who are engaging in some of the high-risk behaviors, as an alternative to possibly incarceration. If there's youth that that may be popping up on your radar that like you're saying right now, that could use after-school programs, some one-on-one counseling or therapeutic support, we can provide that, as well as internships and leadership opportunities as well. And so I have some flyers and additional information that I can share with the contact person there. And I would love to get a number to have a follow-up conversation outside of this meeting.
My number down for now. We can exchange information and then I'll hook you up with the YCOs. So if you're ready, I can tell you the number right now.
Sure, I have my pen and pad ready. I already took down the information about blue chips. I want to find out more information about that and figure out how to better coordinate, because I know that the violence is starting to rise on some of the high school campuses, and so I just want to make sure that we're doing our part, like to get the word out. And we're looking, just so you know, we're looking to do more like restorative circles and peer mediation across school wide as well. And we're willing to help, like to train and develop those in other area places if needed as well.
All right, we'll talk about it. 917-834-0161. And it's Sala, S-A-L-A. P-O, Officer Sala, S-A-L-A.
Can you repeat the last 4 digits again?
It's 917-834-0161.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you, Officer Sala.
You got it.
All right, thank you, Mr. Green. Okay, and that's a good lead in, because the second item I had on this list would be an additional school safety officers for John F. Kennedy High School. And the reason we're bringing this up is because we had incidents over there recently. It's kind of been on the radar. So it seems like they're a little understaffed over there. I don't know if, I see Stephen Vasquez's hand is up. Stephen.
Yeah, Ed. So Derwin, I think it'll be great if so I'm part of the youth committee as well in this community board. And on Monday, March 21st at 7 p.m., I'm not sure what your availability is. There's all right, perfect. There's a community resource networking summit that I think, it'll be extremely helpful if you attend.
Yeah, I regularly attend, and I'm always in, normally in those youth committee meetings, the one that's for Community Board 8. I attend those regularly with Sergio. So yeah, I definitely will be there on the 21st.
All right, perfect.
Okay. All right, so the additional school safety officers for John F. Kennedy High School would be second on the list. I don't know. Captain, is there any anything on that? Is there any, would you think that's a good idea? Do you think that's needed?
Well, the 2 incidents that of concern didn't happen near the campus. They happened off campus after the students left the location. One happened at 230 on Broadway, which was a robbery of a student. And then there was an assault down on 228 in Broadway off campus. So usually the school safety officers are not that far away to actually intervene in the student fighting. I think we could use a few more down there. It is a large campus. They have multiple schools in those campuses. And we do provide police officers' presence at dismissal mostly. We try to cover the location from 230 in Tibbet east to the Broadway area with our YCOs, which is Officer James and Officer Justin Rodriguez. They're there with the school safety officers. They're talking to the school if there's something going on, and they brief before they deploy. And then we have our supervisors and our police officers along that 230 West 230th Street corridor.
Okay, so you know what I'll do is I'll check with the youth and education committees to see what their opinion is about this. It's just something that came up on our radar, but now that you're saying that some of these things happen more on the borders of the school, maybe a school safety officer is not as necessary as I originally thought, but I'll see what the other committees have to say about that, and we can make a decision whether we want to add this to our final budget request. Okay, so the next on the list would be a school crossing guard at the intersection of Hillman Avenue and Sedgwick Avenue, and this is especially needed at PS 95 and Am Park neighborhood schools. It was 9th on our list for last year's fiscal budget. and we didn't get it. And let's see what the agency response was. Their response was, I don't even understand their response, to be honest with you. It says, based on the latest budget, the NYPD has a specific budgeted headcount. The agency is working on filling vacancies in order to get that headcount. I mean, what does that even mean? Where are they now, and have they reached the headcount? You know what I mean? So it's I get it. It's a hiring process, but does that mean that this area is still even in consideration once they do fill their hires? I don't, that response doesn't answer that question. So I don't know. You haven't heard anything about that location. It's a madhouse up here by the school at school hours, and it's an accident waiting to happen.
Yeah, it's a lot of buses parked on Sedgwick. I could have sworn I saw a school crossing guard over there, but I'll have to check with our school crossing coordinator. We are trying to put the people in the right places at the right times for the safety of the children. But I think if they were provided a more competitive salary, I think we'd have a greater reception of people who would like some part-time work at a reasonable salary. And I that's their complaint. They're not working for much, and they provided great service.
Sedgwick by the school?
Yeah, Sedgwick and Hillman. I've seen.
Well, the crossing guards they have are actually on the next block down by across from where the supermarket is and the corner of PS 95. The spot where they need that it's needed there as well, but that area is so congested and insane with traffic. They need one on the following block.
You're saying on Hillman?
Hillman, correct. Up the hill, because that's where a lot of the drop-offs are. That's where the majority of the drop-offs are, because that's the entrance to the school where all the kids go in.
Yeah, I know that the buses park all along Sedgwick there. I might be mistaken. I might have saw that maybe they moved it. The guard moved over to.
No, they've always had one at that other area, and it's needed there, but they need an additional one there. It's just too much going on.
Yeah, I'll have a conversation with Ms. Fredericks. She's our school crossing coordinator tomorrow, and see about if there's anything in the works to cover Hillman in the future, and we'll get back to you, Ed.
Okay, and the last one on our list was something that was last year that was not granted to us. It was number 18 on our list, which was the John Deere Gator utility vehicle used for NYPD park patrol. I don't even think I know that our Parks Department also requested one because the other one is beat up or broken down or something like that. But I know you guys, I was told last year that this would be useful for you guys for park patrol. We didn't receive that. Is it still something you guys are interested in us pursuing?
We actually have one already. We do have a John Deere UTV, and we take it up to the park, special events usually. If there's other events that we have throughout the precinct, we'll take it up there, whether it's deploy equipment or just do patrol inside the park, because it does have those turf safe tires on them, so we can go into the park without any issues. And we could also go up in the back on the other locations throughout the park, up on the cross country trails and whatnot, and make sure people who are utilizing the park are safe.
How long have you had it?
I've been here 3 years, and we've had it about 3 years. And I don't know if that's something that came out of your budget or the police department budget, but we use it quite often. And like I said, at special events like and we hold barriers. We do when we do the special events, we take it out. The kids sit in it, and it is useful for getting out those areas of the park which are not usually accessible by our regular vehicles.
Okay, well, I'm a little confused why, if you guys have one, why we requested one for you guys. I know this went through Captain Melendez, your predecessor, so I don't know what, I don't recall the reasoning. I was not even under the impression that you had one, or maybe it was broken down or something like that. How's the one you have? Is it fine?
It's fine, Ed. I think he might have been requesting like regular ATVs, which
No, it was a John Deere. It was a John Deere he was requesting.
All right, because I know the New York City Parks PEP officers at various locations throughout the city, they utilize ATVs.
Okay, so I'm gonna cross that off the list then. So if you guys don't need it, there's no sense, unless you're telling me that it's a necessity, I'm not gonna start requesting things that.
I think if you could get those ATVs for the PEP officers, that would be money better used than giving it to us.
Okay, that would, I believe, be a parks issue. I'll speak to the Parks Committee. ATVs for PEP officers.
Yep.
I'm not sure whether that's public safety or parks. We'll have to figure that out. But if that's something that's needed, we'll get it done one way or another.
I think it'd be great for them.
All right. Is there anybody from the committee that has any other suggestions about budget requests? Captain, you're out of here?
No, actually, I have a meeting with Stephanie Ehrlich and Yvonne So and a whole mess of people from the parks, Domingo Sanchez, the PEP captain, on Monday. So I'll have a conversation with them and see if they indeed, or they're interested in such an item that can come across your budget.
Great.
I know they use it a lot into other parts of the city I've worked in. So I'll ask and we'll get back to you on that also.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot. Anybody else from the committee have any more ideas about budget requests? All right, I don't see any hands up.
Sorry, Ed.
Myra, go ahead.
Yeah, so I had just had a suggestion that I had sent to you, Ed. And I sort of tried to look into it, which is some way to have some kind of education program, especially for seniors, citizens, older adults, for older adults in regard to the scams, the telephone scams, the email scams, and I'm sure something like that would need funding, but I'm not sure how to go about it. I'm not sure, I don't think I even know where to start, except for maybe with the aging committee to discuss it with them.
Yeah, as you know, this has been a concern of mine going over the last couple of years too, that we've had this discussion. People have been bombarded. Maybe David has a comment on this. David, your hand is up. Is this in regard to Myra's?
Yes, as I recall, Ralph Centron used to do out of community affairs sessions with the senior centers.
Mm-hmm.
Officer Sal, I don't know if you have any thoughts about that, but I know that's been done in the past, and I think that they like doing it because it was a gathering of seniors that they could come address, and it could be a part of their normal outreach within the community as opposed to a whole program.
Well, you already know, Russia, Jamshire has done the same type of stuff. I used to go out with Ralph when he was here. Yeah, so she's taking his place and she's taking care of that now. So if anybody wants something specific, just reach out to her or reach out to me, and we'll let her know that we're gonna go out there, and she's been doing that. So yeah, we're going one place at a time.
Okay.
She's been active in the talking to seniors who've had their checks stolen and washed. She does a lot of that stuff up on Riverdale, particularly in the 235 and Johnson Avenue, where these bad guys have targeted those mailboxes, which are older residents utilize usually because they're maybe not computer savvy and pay online. But Rosh has been up there cleaning the post boxes. She's been speaking to them about bringing their mail directly to the post office and on other crime prevention tips. And
Right.
she's taking over, like Caesar said, she's taking over for Ralph.
Okay, so, I know Rasha really well, so is it possible that I can have a discussion with her about what sort of issues need to be addressed with seniors?
Sure, that's what she's there for, and she's she's always readily available, and she likes that kind of stuff. That's why
Okay,
she's in
great.
that position.
Yeah, I have her contact information, thanks.
Certainly.
Mhm.
Great. Thank you, Myra. Again, I forgot about that. I'm sorry. You did reach out to me about that a while back, and that's something very important. So if maybe we can get some, if we can get some concrete avenue on how to approach this, and where, because with the budget request, we're requesting something specific. An issue like this with the scams, it's kind of all over the place. So where do we address our focus? So if we can come up with something solid and where funds are needed to help prevent this, then I'm all for adding it to our list. And again, we're going to have to do, our next month is our last month. This is kind of almost a final list. So please send, if you get any information, I would suggest also reach out to Dan Paternak, the chair of the agent committee. I'm sure you may have some good ideas on this issue as well. All right, so with no further things on budget, I'm just gonna go on to the last, to new business and the last item on our agenda. And I'm not gonna turn this into a major forum. I know we've gone a little long here, so, but
Ed, can I interject just
Sure.
real quickly?
Go ahead.
I just want to make sure I catch the captain. I just wanted to bring to your attention very quickly. I don't know if you're familiar with something called Nextdoor. It's sort of like a hyper local Facebook. Last week, there were a number of postings about the parking of tractor trailer trucks along Jerome Avenue extension, which is the service road to the Major Deegan. And it's a complete, no standing zone, has been for years. And I brought this to the attention of Assemblyman Dinowitz as well as Councilman Dinowitz, and they wrote a letter to the DOT Commissioner Rodriguez, as well as the Chief of Patrol, and basically saying that that this needs to be addressed. And so I just wanted you to know, I wanted the captain to know that this is on their radar, that these trucks are not supposed to be parking there for minutes, nonetheless overnight. And I know there are a couple of other areas within the district, like on Goulden Avenue, that's been an issue, but this one in particular was brought to the chief's attention as well as the DOT's attention. So it's quite possible, the captain, you've heard about this already, but I just wanted you to be aware of it because it probably will be coming down the pike quite shortly.
We already are familiar with it. We've gotten community complaints, 301s, people just calling in, giving us information about that from the Yonkers City line down to like the 233rd turnoff. We've also had conversation with the Yonkers Police Department. Their traffic safety unit reached out to me because they've been getting the same kind of complaints, and our traffic safety officers have been up there issuing the parking summonses for the no parking area, which, as you said, goes from the city line down. We've also written summonses on the detached trailers, and that's what we've been doing. We're already on it.
Okay, very good. I had a feeling it might be, as just hoping to prevent you being surprised by this. The reason why I think it's an issue of public safety is, frankly, a prior CO had told me that part of the reason why you folks insisted on making that a no standing area is that the parking of these tractor trailers overnight was enticing other illicit business, shall I say, and that was part of the motivation for it. So I have not heard anything about that returning, but just wanted you to be aware of this issue and that others had become aware of it. And by the way, I think that the community affairs officers may want to subscribe to this Nextdoor application, because then it gives you an early warning of what people in the community are concerned about.
Yep. Like I said, we've been up there. We've had conversation with those truck drivers who we didn't issue the summonses because they were willing to hustle their vehicles out of there. But their concern for parking there, as I might have explained to some people here, in the city of New York, there are no truck stops in the city at all.
Right.
So
Right.
that's one of those locations they can like rest up or take a break before they continue their travel into the city. And that's why they lay up there. And even though you are correct, they're just trying to lay up and operate those vehicles safely. But like I said, we've been having that conversation, moving them on, and we haven't seen on any of our tours, and there's 3 of them, any of those, what you might have suggested might have been prostitution.
Yes.
No, we have not seen that there. We have an issue with some dumping going on there, and we're reaching out to sanitation to see if they can do something about that. They have a sanitation police that do that kind of enforcement, as well as cleaning up the items that have already been dumped there.
Thank
Very
you.
good.
Thanks, David.
Yes.
Okay, so on to new business. And again, I just put this on the agenda, the discussion of the mayor's blueprint to end gun violence. Not to, go over this thing with a fine tooth comb. I really just want to find out what effects these policies may have on law enforcement and public safety in our community. So I just wanted to briefly, and I'm glad, Captain, I'm glad you're here tonight for this, because I just wanted to briefly go over this. And I read the report. I don't know if you're familiar, you guys are familiar with this. Mayor Adams has put out this blueprint for gun violence, and how to solve blueprint to end gun violence. So some of the things that stood out to me were that he says that the NYPD is going to deepen its work by enhancing existing public safety units with new neighborhood safety teams. So neighborhood safety teams they're going to focus on gun violence. So one of the things it mentions in the report is, putting more officers on patrol, and the department expects to launch these teams within 3 weeks of this, which would have already, been in effect because this was put out over 3 weeks ago. I realize it says there's going to be a special focus on 30 precincts where 80% of the violence occurs. So with that in mind, my first thought are any of these resources going to be allocated to the 50th precinct? And if not, why? We don't have, fortunately, we don't have some of the same problems with gun violence that some other neighborhoods in our city do, which is a blessing. But nevertheless, we're not immune to gun violence. So did you hear anything about this, any of these safety teams, or any of this coming our way, or have we just been left off the map with this? You're muted, Captain.
On the top 30.
Okay, we're not in those 80s.
Sounds like that answers the whole question.
Yeah, as you know, like we don't have a lot of violence here. Most of our stuff is property, so they're putting the cops where the problems are. And fortunately, one way or another, you're gonna say, we're not getting those guys. We're not getting those additional manpower, those public safety officers that are going to be out focusing on the gun violence, because we don't have a lot of gun violence here. We've made gun arrests here, but not the kind of violence that we've seen in other commands like the 40th and the 42nd precinct in the South Bronx, where they have a high homicide rate and violent crime is being fought well by us. But up here, we haven't had a shooting in quite some time. We haven't had a homicide in the 50th precinct since August 14th last year. And that's, I think we're one of the only commands in the Bronx, I believe, that doesn't have a homicide this year or in that amount of time. So we're doing well, and as such, I don't think we'll be getting these new anti-crime teams.
Okay, very good. So I guess no news is good news in this case. One of the things, though, they mention in the report, it says it talks about the agencies are going to increase public safety presence around public transportation facilities. Now, I'd like to know if this was going to occur at all at 242nd Street, Van Cortlandt, because that area I'm very familiar with. And there is an issue over there. maybe not so much with violent crime, but the potential for it is there. You have a lot of vagrancy there. You have, it's the end of the line. I see it firsthand. It's crazy that the homelessness, and I've personally seen incidents. I work over there, and I've seen, I work in that system, and I've seen incidents break out where EMSs are called and fights occur, and a lot of this stuff gets diffused, but there's certainly the potential for problems over there. So is there going to be any coordination with the 50th precinct, and is there any concern about that area at 242nd and Van Cortlandt, the number 1 line terminal?
Yeah, we seem to have throughout the city, a lot of the homeless, they have nowhere to go. They're looking for somewhere warm, get out of the rain and the snow, and they'll either use the mezzanine or they'll go on the trains. Our part in this is to supplement our transit police department. That's district number 3 that runs the 1 line. And every tour, we pick a station, and we have 4 stations. We have 225, 231, 238, and 242. And we switch it up. Every tour, we put an additional 2 police officers on the mezzanine to deter crime and offer services to those who we believe to be homeless people.
When you say on the mezzanine, you're speaking of 242nd Street?
All of them, all platforms we patrol.
On the platform, okay. All right, because I wasn't sure. Myra, you got a question?
Well, I sort of have a question related to that. So last week I got on the number 1 train at 231st Street, sort of towards the back of the train. When I got into the car, there was one homeless guy sleeping across all the seats at one end, another one sleeping across all the seats in the other, a third one in sort of the middle of the car, asleep across with his pants sort of down and his butt hanging out. It wasn't pleasant. So, I mean, this guy was there like the whole way. I get off 116th, and 2 of them got off. This guy in the middle of the car was still on the car. And my question is, how do I don't know if there's officers on the platform when the train pulls into the station. So I'm just wondering if I should have just stuck my head out when the door opened to see if there was officers on the platform that I could call over. Is that?
I can answer that question.
That's fine. What we do is we'll have an interaction with the people that we come into contact with and try to see, do they need police services? Do they need medical services?
Mhm.
And if they are, we'll call an ambulance for them. They have a variety of problems, a lot of these folks. And while we are not the organization that takes the lead in offering these services, because we're out there, boots on the ground, we can be there and offer them and determine if they really need it or not. They usually do, and we'll call an ambulance. They might need just to get out of the elements. That's why they're there, and they might need some psychological, assistance, or they might have a medical condition, which the guy's knocked out and he needs some help, and we'll provide that for him.
Myra, you know what you need to do in that situation? You need to say something to the train's conductor, which is in the middle of the car, because they're the ones with the radios. They can radio for police en route. They can keep the train in the station to have somebody who might be unruly removed. There's a lot of things they can do. They're the ones with the radios, and you go to the middle of the car. They're in between the 5th and the 6th car, and you tell them there's an issue on the train, and they will handle it appropriately. And they'll bring police if necessary.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So another thing on this list is Gun Violence Suppression Division, and I'm guessing this goes back to the first thing about the funding, but this is, they cite a highly specialized unit within the Detectives Bureau.
Yes.
Charged with seizing illegal guns and building cases against illegal carriers, traffickers, and sellers. Being that I know that there's kind of there is some separation between you guys and your detectives unit. So is that an issue that you're aware of, that our detectives unit in this command is being provided additional funds, or is that again falls under the category of we just don't have enough violence to warrant attention?
No, that's the gun violence. They do the, like the undercover buys. They make contact with suspects and then they go into an investigation or a case and they buy guns one after another and they develop case and they see how many players are involved and where they're coming from and they work with the ATF. So, and then they do search warrants and they make these seizures. So that's not what our detective squad does. This is a separate entity which investigates specifically the trafficking of guns to the city of New York.
Okay, so that could potentially fall into our area depending on what active cases are going on, correct? Okay.
Yep. Yes.
All right, so we just don't know at this point because it's basically a specialized operation that.
That is correct.
Okay. All right, another thing that came on the list was using new technology to identify suspects and those carrying guns. There's really not much other than mentioning something about software. There's nothing really that explains this. So do you have any idea what type of technology they're talking about?
No, I don't know. I don't.
Okay, we'll have to ask the mayor about that. Crisis management systems, empowering CMS violence interrupters citywide. Anything crisis management? This I'm looking at this and I'm just thinking all of this is going to come down to what we mentioned right off the bat. We live in an area, fortunately, that we don't deal with a lot of crime. So I guess the biggest overall question of how has this precinct been told that they're going to receive any additional funds for any of this stuff in any area? Because I could just go down the list and it's always going to be the same thing. We're not as bad as the 46th, or an area like that. So what are we entitled to? I see a couple of hands up. So I guess before we get to that, Bob Kaplan, you got something you want to add?
Sure, and unfortunately, I'm going to have to get off in a few minutes. But tomorrow, the mayor is convening a citywide forum on gun violence with the Community Affairs Unit, CAU, the Mayor's Office of Community Affairs, and the NYPD. My agency will be there as well, Human Rights. I'll be attending as the commissioner, and we will have a much better understanding of a lot of the various different areas of focus directly from the mayor's office. However, I think that you're right. There are certain areas that have been designated high gun violence areas, many of them in Brooklyn, some of them are in the Bronx, a few of them in Queens. And those are the areas that are going to get the majority of the attention. I will be facilitating the Bronx piece tomorrow, and I imagine I will have much better understanding of what the mayor's plan is for the Bronx as of that time.
Bob, I'm glad you chimed in on that, and I'm happy that you're going to be checking this out. Please, let me know, let our committee know anything you hear at this forum that might be valuable for our area. And also, I know this is another area that we discussed before, but one of the things on this report is reallocating mental health resources where they will matter the most. And they tie this into how it contributes directly with the crisis of gun violence, but that's a mental health resources is a major issue that I'd like to tackle with this committee moving forward. And so that's another thing. Please, keep your ears open for what they intend to do about that.
I also sit on health and hospitals, and brought that up as a very defined focus at our last meeting. Mental health issues and its impact upon the quality of life across the city is a huge and something that we really don't have a handle on. So I do know that much of it will also be there. For instance, In Brooklyn, I'm on the advisory board of something called the 67 Precinct Clergy Council. It's called God Squad. It's one of the premier anti-gun violence groups in the city. One of the issues is the trauma that's impacted upon communities and family members and community members by gun violence that happens in communities. So that's another whole piece of mental health issues that is not clearly articulated in this plan, but I know for a fact that it is something of deep concern.
Right, and it directly ties into the homeless problem also enormously. So that's, part of it also. Thanks, Bob, and please let us know if you hear any information.
We'll do, and I'm going to have to sign off in just a little bit. Thank you.
Okay. All right, Bob, thanks. Georgia, you have your hand up?
Yes,
What's going on?
I have a question. Hello?
Yes.
I have a question for the officer. Since I live in Marble Hill, in the projects here. So my question is, back in, I believe, 2019, there were a couple of officers patrol 11 buildings. There's 11 buildings here and one on Bailey. So that's 12. So my question to you is, I don't think we still have the 2 officers. That's my question. Do we or do we not? Or could I come to the precinct and just ask a few questions that I would like to find out?
Okay.
If you can't answer them.
Yep, we can answer. We have 2 police officers specifically assigned to Marble Hill and Fort Independence. That's police officers Reeves and Gallagher. And then the area around it is our sector Boy. And we have 2 NCOs assigned to that also, which also includes Marble Hill and Fort Independence. And that's Police Officer Olivencia and Police Officer Perez. And if you'd like to come in at any time, we have our community affairs officers here, and they can make an arrangement for you to speak specifically to your officers that are assigned to you, the Marble Hill area.
So I'm familiar with Police Officer Gallagher.
Yeah.
And Ken Samuels, he was promoted to some other place.
He still works here. Detective, he got promoted to detective. Kenny Samuels, he got promoted to detective, and he still works here.
Yeah.
And he works in the neighborhood of Marble Hill also still, but in a investigative capacity. So because he's a detective now, he did great work.
And I would like to, I'll come in. I understand I'll make an appointment because you just can't walk in.
Yeah, you can walk in. You can look for the officers wearing the light blue shirts, and those are our community affairs officers, and you could have a conversation with them.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. What's your name again?
I'm Captain Gervin, and I'm the commanding officer here.
Oh, yes.
at the 5th Precinct.
I wrote your name down many times in my notes.
All righty.
Thanks, Georgia.
All right. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
I see Derwin Green of KHCC's hand is up. Derwin, you have a question?
Not so much a question, but I was just saying in relation to the topic at hand about like the gun violence and the trauma that people may be experiencing in the community. Just wanted to let you guys know that at our agency, we do provide free trauma therapeutic services for any victims who may be experiencing any gun violence or sexual assaults. And so if that's any, if you can let people know that as you're contacting them, if they need that type of support, that we're definitely here for them. That's basically all I wanted to let you know.
Thank you, Derwin. Appreciate it. Okay, so, there's other aspects of this report. I'm not even really going to get into it. Some of it involves bail reform, and that's a topic of, we've actually been building up to a conversation with the Bronx DA and definitely our elected officials on this in the future. But this may be our last Zoom meeting. I don't know. This was scheduled, the Zoom was scheduled to end the 16th, which is tomorrow. And I don't know if there's going to be any extensions on that. I, for one, will not be happy to see Zoom go. I feel that it invited a lot more community participation to these things. You know, it's a lot easier for people to click on a link and join a meeting than for them to go out and sometimes on cold, rainy nights to a public safety meeting. But that being said, we're one of the more fortunate committees in the fact that if we do return to in-person meetings, the 50th precinct is our location, and unless they tell me otherwise, that they're our location for our meetings on Tuesday nights. So I don't know at this point what we're going to do. I'll have to talk to our board chair about how we're going to move forward with this. But this, as of today, this is scheduled to be our last Zoom meeting. So I'll have to keep everybody informed of, you know, what we're doing as far as that's concerned, and hopefully the participation will not wane off too much. I know it's very convenient for people to just click on a link and come to the meetings. But, you know, with that, what I'd like to do moving forward is I'd like to continue the conversation about bail reform, bring the Bronx DA in, and Zoom makes that a lot more easily accessible. So I don't know how that's going to work meeting in person, but only time will tell with that. We'll do the best we can to put together a comprehensive form on some of these things and hope that everybody can attend. So with that, do we have any other business that needs to be attended to? Because if not, I'd like to thank everybody for coming.
I would just like to get your email address so I can send you a PowerPoint that I made of the rat situation on West 238th Street between Independence and Blackstone, which has been going on since the fall, when the building was completed on the corner of Blackstone and 238th, and all the rats had to move out of the construction site. And it is a public health horror, and the health department is responding to 311s, but they are only digging up one rat burrow for each 311 complaint. And right now we have over 30 entrances to rat burrows. And so I would like to send this PowerPoint so you're aware of this and you could get back to me. It's been a long night. I realize people want to end this, but I need to send this to someone to get some support for this being taken care of.
Okay, this would be my suggestion. I would suggest you send your PowerPoint to the Bronx Community Board 8. And I'm not even positive, this might be an Environment and Sanitation Committee issue. It might be Public Safety. I mean,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Mara.
Oh, no, because I was going to suggest the same thing. Send it to the board office. This is an Environment and Sanitation Committee issue. I agree with you that there's a public safety component of this, but ENS is definitely the committee that would handle something like this.
Okay, so Environment and Sanitation Committee.
Correct.
And
but send
Myra,
it to, yeah.
what about health and hospitals? That's a health.
Well, you know, the best thing to do is send it to the office, to the board office.
Okay, so what is the email address for that? And is there a name that it should be to the attention of?
Well, Kira Gannon, C-I-A-R-A, Gannon, G-A-N-N-O-N, is the district manager.
Okay.
What is the board office? Where's my?
I believe it's BX08.
Wait, okay, wait, BX08 at cb.nyc.gov.
Okay, so I'll do that. Because I have a very comprehensive PowerPoint on this issue.
Okay, That'll be great.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Good luck.
Thank you for coming. Okay, so with no further business for the committee, do we have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Yes, I move we adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
Second.
I hear a second. So this motion is adjourned. Thanks, everybody, for coming out, and we'll keep everybody informed about what we're doing for next month. Have a great night, everybody, and be safe.
Thank you.
Good night,
See you
Thank
soon.
you, Ed.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah.